Hello and welcome to the TC Exchange podcast. I'm Amity Kraus, ex-retail girl turned realtor turned business owner, where I teach new transaction coordinators how to navigate the complex real estate industry and coach experienced TCs how to level up their game and businesses to add even more value to their agents. Come along with me while I guide you through this intense, complicated, but always fun world of transaction coordination. Hello and welcome to another episode of the TC Exchange podcast. I'm your host, Amity Kraus, and today we're diving into a topic that many transaction coordinators face in their business as they begin to grow. How do I know when I need to hire? If you are feeling overwhelmed or stretched too thin, this episode is for you. We will talk about the key signs that it's time to bring in help, what type of roles you might need, and how to ensure that you're hiring at the right time. So grab your coffee, friends, and let's get started. First off, let's talk about the signs that you're ready to hire. The most obvious one, overwhelm and burnout. We have all been there, working late nights, constantly thinking about your to-do list, thinking about how you're going to bring in new clients. And some days when it gets really bad, you don't want to get out of bed. And if any of this sounds familiar, it might be time that you need to look into getting some help. You could also notice that you're taking on more transactions that you can handle. That's a great problem, right? But when you are having to turn down work, or you're making mistakes, or you're missing deadlines, it's an absolute clear indication that you are maxed out. And speaking about mistakes, what about the quality of your work? If you find the mistakes are happening, or things are slipping through the cracks, or you're just not able to give each transaction the attention it deserves, or you start to hate the idea of working on a transaction, that's going to lead to mistakes. And it's a signal that you need to bring in some extra hands. And also, finally, if you can't find the time to work on your business, growing your business, whether that is networking, marketing, planning for the future, reviewing your business, anything, another major indicator that you really need some help. Now that we've recognized the signs, let's talk about the roles that you could consider hiring for. So the first is an admin assistant. This person is going to be handling all of those day-to-day tasks that eat up your time, like managing your emails, helping you with scheduling, paperwork, anything to help support you on the back end. You could also bring in a junior transaction coordinator, and they can take on some of the simpler tasks, maybe some of the compliance paperwork, checking off that paperwork has been received, checking off if certain non-customer facing tasks have been done. One of my least favorite tasks ever in the whole world is calling and scheduling inspections. I hate it. I hate it. And just the phone tag, the constant calling or sending a text to the inspector, waiting for the inspector to text you back, then checking against the availability of the property. Is it going to work? And then saying, okay, I think it might work. Let me confirm with this person. It's just least favorite task. So this could be something that a junior TC can help you with. And this is the truth. When you're assessing your tasks, to determine what things you can delegate, the first things that you want to delegate are the things that you hate doing. It sounds kind of crappy, but it's absolutely true. You're getting rid of these off of your plate because you don't like doing them. So pay attention to that. Both of these options, the admin assistant or your junior TC, we're living in a world in real estate where we don't have to be in a office. You do not have to have people who are working side by side with you physically. You can be looking at remote people. So virtual assistants will also open up a whole new avenue of types of people to bring on. So a virtual assistant can help you with the administrative assistant tasks. You can find a virtual assistant who specializes in transaction coordination so that you can have your junior TC be a virtual assistant. There are virtual assistant companies throughout the world. You can find people who are stateside. You can also find people that are out of the country. For example, we see a lot of virtual assistant companies that source their teams from the Philippines, and there are several really great ones. A virtual assistant is a really great option. And then don't forget about specialized roles. If one of the tasks that you can take off of your plate that will give you some more space and to help you leverage and grow is social media marketing, you can source out to a social media marketing company or a person to help you with creating your posts or anything that you need for marketing purposes. Also consider operations. That could be your finances, your bookkeeping, your tax preparation, all of those kind of things you can outsource as well. All right. So how do you know when it is the right time to hire? First thing you need to do is you're going to need to assess your finances. Hiring can be a big financial commitment, so make sure that you've got the budget set aside. It's also important to project future income to ensure that you're making a sustainable decision. There are some things that you'll need to consider when you're looking at your finances. You'll need to determine whether you are going to bring in a contractor, a 1099 employee, or if you are going to hire a W-2 employee. There's some very significant things that you need to be aware of when you're making that decision. I have included as a freebie to this episode a checklist that will allow you to take a look at what you need to do to assess your finances to determine if you're ready to hire. So take a look at that checklist. You can download it from the link in the show note. It will have a checklist of how you actually step by step go through and assess your finances to determine if you're ready to hire. And it will also have some information specifically on what the difference is between an employee and hiring a contractor. And I need to say this in any instance when we are talking about making hiring decisions, please make sure that you are consulting with a professional. That includes your CPA accountant. It also includes your attorney to make sure that you are protecting your business, because there's some very, very serious consequences if you get this wrong. Last bit on determining the right time to hire. So you've gone through and you've assessed your finances, you've figured that piece out. The other thing that you're going to want to look at when you're deciding whether it's the right time to hire is looking at your workload. So I do recommend that you take a couple of weeks, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and you track your tasks every single day, all day long, to determine where your time is going. So this is another way to figure out what you're going to delegate out to a new team member. I mentioned before figuring out what the tasks are that you hate doing, but you can also find the tasks that maybe you're spending a significant amount of time that is a lower value time for you to be doing, but it's something that you can delegate to somebody else. Take a couple of weeks, write down every task that you are doing throughout the day and determine what tasks are things that you could be delegated. Now, the last thing on that is to make sure that you weigh the risk versus the reward. So hiring too early can be very risky, but if you're really at a point where you're ready to grow, making the right hire can really, really pay off. Make sure that you spend some time and think about that. All right, so now you have decided it is time to hire. So finding the right person is absolutely crucial. The first thing you're going to want to do is create a clear job description. We could spend a lot of time talking about creating job descriptions, and there's a variety of different methods to doing it and figuring out what you want to say to attract somebody to your job. The biggest thing that I want to say in your job description that I want you to think about is to be very specific about what and who you are looking for and what the role entails. This is really going to make a big difference for you in helping to attract the right people and filter out those who are not a good fit. Now, where are you going to find those candidates? Networking is a great place to start. Spending time on your Facebook groups, the LinkedIn groups, wherever you spend time interacting with other transaction coordinators, that's a great place to start looking for people. You can also use job boards like Indeed. There's a variety of different job boards that are out there that you could do, even local MLSs you can try, and then consider hiring through referrals. For example, we're working as transaction coordinators. There may be a co-op agent on the other side that you really liked who had a transaction coordinator. Maybe they are looking to actually join a team and get out of the independent business. There's a variety of things that you can do. So ask lots of questions and use those resources. Especially, I really have to say, especially the online communities. Some of the best hires I made have been from people that I personally either connected with from previous roles, or they were people that I connected with online and on the social media boards. So don't discount those areas. And when it comes to interviewing and onboarding, take your time. You are going to feel some pressure, especially if you're down to the wire and you really need to bring somebody on quickly. But you really want to make sure that you're bringing on someone who not only has the skills for the position, but also fits into your company culture. Especially with virtual assistant companies, I personally have found a lot of pressure to make a decision right in the moment, and it feels horrible. Fight that the best that you can, so that you are not making decisions just to get through a process. Make sure that you're making the right decision. My philosophy is hire slow and fire fast. Okay, make sure you've got the right person. A strong onboarding process is also going to help make your new hire successful from day one. Now, I could create a whole nother podcast episode on an onboarding process, but a strong onboarding process that includes not only introductions and training to the company culture and the company vision, but also includes trainings on how to actually do the job. You're going to want to make sure that your onboarding includes a lot of the whys. We do things this way, and that will be helpful. We'll talk more about onboarding in future episodes. To wrap things up, if you're feeling overwhelmed, constantly overloading on transactions, noticing a dip in your work quality, and struggling to focus on your business growth, it might be time to hire, my friend. Take a close look at your finances, assess your workload, and make sure you're ready to take the leap. If you're on the fence about hiring or just want some advice from others who've been there, I invite you to join our private Facebook group, the TC Exchange, where we share experiences and tips. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a review or sharing it with your fellow transaction coordinators. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I will see you next time, same place. Until then, happy coordinating. And that wraps up another episode of the TC Exchange podcast. Thank you so much for joining me and being a part of this incredible journey through the world of transaction coordination. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity to learn, and together, we're setting the compass to true north. If you want to dive deeper into the world of TCs or simply connect with our growing community, follow us on Instagram at TrueNorthTCT. For exclusive content, insights, and engaging discussions, be sure to join our Facebook group, the TC Exchange. And for resources, courses, and a treasure trove of knowledge, check out our website at truenorthtransactionservices.com. Keep the conversations going, share your insights, and until next time, keep your compass pointing true north. See you soon.